Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Supercast. With me today is MSUHitman, and guess what? We're going to dive right into Life is Strange, Episode 5.
Yeah, sorry this took probably a bit longer. Things are getting busy at job number 2, a lot of releases, and just hadn't had time. Got it done the other night. Literally just now getting home today. Had to go to eye doctor, so literally just now walking in the door, so we could get this recorded before Checkmate, because I haven't talked to Steven. I've been goading him into playing this. I have no idea yet if he started or not. I know he owns it. I know he owns it on Xbox One, but
Okay.
I have no idea if he started playing it yet or not.
All right. So if you haven't played it, then what the hell are you doing listening to this cast?
Yes, full spoilers here. There's no way we can talk about it without going into full spoilers, so this is your one and only warning.
All right. So, let's see here. Where the hell do we start with this mess of an episode?
See, I thought it was really, really good. I really enjoyed. I mean, there is one part that I would critique, but everything else, I was really enjoying it.
Well, by mess, I mean it was all discombobulated.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, we called it last episode, although it took a bit to get to that photo.
Yeah.
But the photo rewind mechanic is in full force in this episode. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is the primary way. I mean, you don't really walk around anywhere other than one point midway through. Everything is focused solely on. Everything is focused solely on the photo rewind, and I guess there's a second spot, but you're under more pressure there. There's a second spot closer to the end where you have some ability to move around, but you're under pressure trying to save people. So I guess there's a couple spots where you can walk around, but primarily everything else. I mean, where we left off, Max is a prisoner of the dark room, and Mr. Jefferson is doing his thing, and basically tells you the entire dastardly plot, and we fully find out what happened to Rachel. Nathan was trying to do everything himself and impress Jefferson, but he gave her too strong a dose and killed her. So Nathan buried her in the junkyard, and we find out that, tying up loose ends, Jefferson had killed Nathan right before and taken Nathan's cell phone so that he could fool you into the text.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, the text came from Nathan about how, he was going to take care of everything at the junkyard, and you fell right into the trap.
Yeah, what a... Oh, man. Okay, I have to ask you. You know that part where it was David to the rescue?
Yes.
How long did it take you to figure that out?
I think only 2 tries.
Really?
2 or 3. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. You did better than I did.
Yeah, you can go quite a bit. I was just lucky that I saw the cord, because that's the key point. After the first time or so, is that cord prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I did it once, mess up. Everybody's going to mess up the first time. Did it twice, and then going for the third time, I was like, cord. And I was like, okay, let's try that, and tripped them up, and I was like, oh, okay, I solved it. So yeah, I did a lot easier now. I don't know how it was. You were on PC, correct?
Yeah.
Not very few people did a perfect run of that, because if if something messes up at all at that point, David ends up with a scar, either from like getting hit with the tripod. I think it's usually getting hit with the tripod. I don't know how else you get the scar, maybe by a punch, but it's normally by the tripod. 97% of players on PS4, David ended up with a scar.
Wow, that's a high percentage.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I didn't really I didn't realize that was kind of one of the lesser choices, but I just I went through it and I just didn't think anything of it. But yeah, I mean, I guess there is a way to do a perfect run of that where David doesn't get touched, but only 3% of, at least on PS4, figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
I went and right before I literally walked in the door, turned on the PS4, and took pictures of the stats so that I could remember the stats talking, because all I remembered was the major choice, but I've got all the other minor ones for the episode here. So it's like, okay, let's take pictures of these so that I'm not stumbling around, fumbling, trying to remember. But yeah, no, I didn't have any issues at all in the episode. Other than when we get to the nightmare. I mean, I talked to you beforehand. I mean, that kind of flubbed me up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And it was late at night when I was playing it too. But once I watched the video, I figured out, the part I was messing up. And then after that, it was a little bit more trial and error. But I got through it. First, I mean, I had to rewind a couple of times, but I was able to get through it without too much problem. But
the part that cracks me up is it William that's yelling out, "Who wants to go ape?"
Oh, Warren, you mean?
Warren, yeah. Oh man, he was yelling about going ape, and I chuckled.
Oh, is that in the nightmare? Is he? Because he's, I guess, one of the ones looking for you.
Yeah, he's one of the ones looking for you.
Okay. I didn't get to that.
You didn't get that one? Oh, you must have passed him.
Maybe I got... Was he in the, locker room section?
I'm trying to remember. Hold on. Probably.
Because I didn't get him at any point that I'm... Because I think there are... Yeah, no, I don't remember. The only time I remember him in the nightmare sequence is at the end where she's in the chair again and, a bunch of stuff's going, a bunch of stuff with Chloe's.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only...
Yeah, that was an interesting part, too.
Yeah. But, so, anyway, so what happens is, Max is stuck in the dark room and she has to go bounce around through a few different photos, that she can get access to, and trying to rewind further back to where she can feasibly escape at some point. And eventually she gets to a point where Jefferson's getting ready to kill her, and busting in is David, and there is a trial and error sequence where you have to know what Jefferson is going to do and direct David to knock Jefferson out. And because Jefferson has a couple different Jefferson has two different guns. He has the gun he used to kill Chloe, and then he has the other gun, which is David's, that Chloe stole. So, or I'm assuming that's it, because I think he has two guns no matter what, but I'm just assuming in my playthrough that second gun is Chloe's, which is actually David's.
Yeah.
But
it probably...
it sounds like you had some issues with that part, or it took you a few more tries than it did me.
Yeah, it took me a few more tries, but once I got the hang of it, it was fine.
Yeah. There is a video out there, I think it was by the same person that I was looking up some help for with the Nightmare Maze, and it's like all the different ways that... It's like the 8 different ways that David dies in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just keeps intentionally screwing up.
To find more ways?
Yeah, well, just to see how many ways, he can die. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, this person's YouTube was just intentionally just like going through like, okay, how does David die if I choose this or that?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good way to, what not to do.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of a fun video to see afterwards. But so after Jefferson is subdued, David frees you, and then comes the point of, do you tell David what happened to Chloe?
Yeah. So what did you choose?
I told him the truth. I told him Jefferson killed her.
Oh, man. So you made him pull the trigger.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what ends up happening, and that was a really rough split. It was 47 telling, David killing Jefferson versus 53 not. So that was almost a dead heat on PlayStation 4. But yeah, I went ahead and told him because I just figured, he'd find out anyway. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Now it comes out you don't get to choose later on. You talk to Joyce, or it's an optional conversation with Joyce, and you don't get the option to tell her the truth. You just kind of like, it's like, oh, I'll find her later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's an actual pause screen, shaky cam choice. But
yeah.
So after that, the game becomes, trying to find Warren, because Warren has the photo that we mentioned. That we mentioned last spoiler cast, the one that they took before the party. And so you take Jefferson's car, and you're driving into town as the tornado's coming in, and you go through this kind of sandbox sequence. So that ends up being first, I guess. That ends up being first before the art, or does the art gallery end up being first? Oh yeah, the art gallery ends up being first. Yeah, because
you get the phone call, and Chloe's like, "The tornado is here. You were right," and yada yada. Yeah.
So what happens is Max does find a way to rewind. I think she rewinds to what, the selfie that she took, the selfie that she took in class. I think that photo or something. So she rewinds. So. Yeah, she rewinds to there. She ends up back in class, and she tells Victoria off, not and hands in the photo that's like the main photo at the introduction is the one where she's looking at the wall selfies and the camera goes off behind her. So she turns in that photo for the everyday heroes. She texts David, all the info, and then you see time warping to where Mr. Jefferson and Nathan, David leads a police team into the dark room and finds all the evidence, and then arrests David and Mr. Jefferson and Nathan. And you see Max accepting the Everyday Heroes reward, and you end up on a plane going to San Francisco on that Friday, and you're with the principal as your chauffeur, your guardian. He's going instead of Jefferson.
It's interesting. For me, I have mixed feelings about the game.
Really? Okay.
I enjoyed the multiple endings, but I thought that the puzzle elements were a bit much. That whole what the fuck scene where everything was all backwards, I was like, okay, this is pretty trippy.
Yeah, and I forget what all said because I couldn't really make it out. There are videos out there of people, playing that, and
forward?
yeah, playing it. The video is still back, but the audio they correct the audio, and like Jefferson says something creepy in there, and there's just a bunch of creepy talking and stuff. So it's interesting if you take that audio and correct it instead of keeping it reversed.
Yeah.
But I really liked did you think when they were on the plane, I was like, oh no, don't tell me they're going to have a plane crash. That was my first.
That did cross my mind.
I was like, oh no, don't tell me there's going to be a plane crash. But no, they get to the art gallery, and that's a nice kind of quiet moment. You think you've gone through everything with Jefferson, and you're like, okay, it's like, this can't be the this can't be the end, right? I mean, it's too happy. It's too neat an ending. But then, like you said, you get the phone call from Chloe as the tornado's coming in, and you decide, I got to rewind again, but you've been rewinding so much that you end up in kind of this weird, you're in your room when you're taking the photo for the Everyday Heroes, and the background's going all crazy because of how much you've rewound, and you end up tearing up that picture. And then you end up right back where you started because Jefferson discovers that you tore up the photo, and he destroys all your other photos, and then you're back in the dark room. And then that's where he's getting ready to kill you, and David comes in and everything. So,
What?
But anyway. Yeah, so then, the quest becomes...
An episode of Doctor Who. With all this time jumping.
Right. So then...
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, that bit where she kept walking into the dorm area?
No, to the dance with okay, you mean Chloe.
No.
Oh, the nightmare loop. Yes.
Yeah. What did you think of that part?
Somebody really loved PT, and they decided to take PT and put it into the game. I didn't have an issue with that part. I got through it without any problem. I think I messed up. Like, there was like a couple. I went through the doors a couple of times, and I was like, okay, we got an infinite loop here. And then I saw, as soon as I found the one room key, I got through it, easily, because it was like, oh, I've changed into Rachel's clothes. I guess I gotta go in Rachel's room, and then, oh, I'm Victoria now, so I guess I gotta go through Victoria's room, and then it's like, oh, I'm back to Max. I'll go through Max's room.
Yeah.
See, I haven't played PT yet. I've got it on my PS4, but that was everybody that's played that part that's so PT.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's what that is. I think that's their homage to that.
Oh yeah. All right. So that part where she's talking to the different people in the diner, you notice that the bum was there?
No, I did not notice that the homeless woman was there. I didn't see her. I mean, I saw everybody.
Really?
Yeah, no,
maybe you didn't talk to her. That could be. Maybe if you talk to her, she appears. But if you didn't talk to her, she doesn't appear.
Now, before the nightmare scene, when I was trying to figure out how to get in the door, there was a spot to look at that woman's spot, and Max is like, oh, I hope she's in a shelter. I never even got to ask her name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was there because I talked to her, I talked to her once, but I talked to her like the second time you had the option, but not the first. But,
okay.
No, I did not notice her in the diner when everybody's kind of projecting their twisted thoughts are being projected before you talk to Negamax, I think is what Game Trailers called her.
It's probably on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you're not missing much. Just was a little bit of dialogue.
Okay.
actually had something nice to say versus the others.
Okay. But the only issue I had with that episode was the very beginning of the nightmare part. Or not the very beginning, but right after you solve the loop of the infinite loop in the dorm, and then you have the backwards playing scene that you talked about, and the I guess Max's animal spirit is the female, is the doe, the female deer, and it leads you into the bathroom, and then you have the beginning of this maze sequence where you have Jefferson in a facsimile of the San Francisco Art Gallery looking for you. And that threw me for a loop the first time because it's really weird, like right around one point where it looks like a bed or some type of bench or something, there's like a way that loops, like there's a wall that is kind of hard to find on the first try, and you have to loop around that wall, and then that gets you into the part where he's kind of standing there and you have to manipulate time so he moves away, and then you get into the rest of the maze where it's the second part is the locker room, and the third part's the facsimile of the junkyard. And once you get to the junkyard part, you gotta find 5 bottles.
Yeah. Did you find all of them in yours?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I found all 5. Like I said, that video helped me out, and they weren't too hard to find. They were much easier to find in that nightmare than they were in the real life in episode 2. And I do kind of like that homage, because that's obviously, I mean, we talked about it, and that's probably one of the most critiqued parts of that entire 5-episode series. So it was kind of, I think it was poetic how they put that into the nightmare sequence.
Okay, so let's get right down to business. What ending did you like better? The needs of the one or the needs of the many?
I kind of like the needs of the many. So the sacrifice Chloe, and that's what I chose, and I watched the other ending. And what I really like is with this game versus most of the Telltale stuff was even when Telltale tried to have alternate endings for Walking Dead Season 2, they didn't seem that distinct to me. I mean, they were a little different, but this one, the endings are just, I mean, that is a huge, huge choice, and you could argue either ending. I mean, they're both equally, I mean, people, I watched also this morning the game trailers version of what we're doing here, and they were split on that ending as well, and you can make an argument for either ending. They're both equally well crafted. I did choose the Sacrifice Chloe ending, and I guess it's kind of hinted at throughout the game, but it really pounds it home at the end. The blue butterfly is Chloe's spirit animal.
Yep.
Because at the end, that butterfly's flying around. The ending scene, I mean, you see Jefferson get arrested, kind of photos change themselves. I mean, you just lose all the photos of you and Chloe morph into other stuff, and then the game ends with everyone, even Victoria, which I was surprised by, everybody going to Chloe's funeral, and the butterfly kind of floating around. I think it lands on the casket at one point, and Max is just smiling, just kind of a. And then like Warren, she moves next to Warren, and roll credits.
Yeah.
I kind of wish in that ending though she'd won the Everyday Heroes. It's like, it's like, come on, just turn the photo in, at least win that too. I mean, just go for the 100% perfect victory.
100% perfect victory. Yeah.
But I guess she wouldn't have been able to go because of the funeral. But
yeah, that makes sense.
but still win it and then be like, hey, her friend died, so here's her photo. She's not here, but here's her photo. Yeah, it was like, go for the 100%.
Yeah. Already people on the internet are talking about DLC. Extra content, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it would almost have to be a whole different cast, because this is not Walking Dead where, you see Clementine at the end of season 1 approaches, 2 figures in the distance, which ended up being the couple you met near the end of the episode that you start episode 2 with. That one had an ending, that was very easy to build off of. This is going to be very hard, because this would almost be like if the new Mass Effect was a sequel to 4 or a sequel to 3, and not we hit the emergency button and before 3 ends we send people to another galaxy.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of becomes the side thing. Because then you have to choose an ending that is canon. And if you made a direct sequel, I think the canon ending would have to be the Sacrifice Arcadia Bay. Because I would imagine in the Sacrifice Chloe ending, Max probably wouldn't ever use the rewind again.
Yeah.
Because she saw what happened.
It doesn't make sense for her to use it again and risk another storm or whatever.
Right. Whereas in the Sacrifice Chloe ending, she probably would use it again if it was the difference between saving Chloe or not. So,
all right. So let's get this out of the way. What did you think of the non-canon hookups with Chloe?
Oh, those were kind of funny. I like the one with Warren. Now, mine was interesting with that scene with Warren, because it does play out a little differently. They were talking about how, Max is trying to get with both of us, because I did the kiss Chloe, but if you don't kiss Chloe, that conversation is different.
Oh, okay.
And then I would imagine if you didn't, if you because there are some people that have been rejecting Warren the entire time, and I would imagine if you've been rejecting Warren, that dialogue changes again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the Victoria one, okay. That one was kind of quick, and that scene, I was like, yeah, you knew that, okay. Throw that one in there, okay. I was like, yeah, that would be a nightmare for Max, contextually, it makes sense, but it's like, yeah, there's that.
All right.
The one that I wish, and they kind of did it when in the middle of that nightmare sequence, when you have to talk to Jefferson at one point and you don't have control of the dialogue. I think it's right before you see the reverse scene, and all 4 options are some amount of devotion to Jefferson, and Max is like, I'll never say that to him. I kind of wish they built off that a little more.
So overall, do you think this game has the potential to be Game of the Year?
It's my number 2 right now.
Really?
Yes.
You're number 2?
Yeah.
You have one to be in it?
Witcher 3.
Ah, okay. I hear that one's a good one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a number 2 for me. I've got Until Dawn 3rd, and that's kind of my top 3. And there's a big drop. There's a drop off from there. We've got Tomb Raider coming. We've got Fallout coming. So we'll see. But yeah, it's my number 2. I think there's some people that are gonna. Yeah, it can definitely be in the running as one of the best games of this year. It's just I hope that Telltale was taking notes, much like I said in my review of Witcher 2 I did several years ago that I need to be taking notes on what Witcher 2 was doing, and obviously with Inquisition you see some of those themes, and I hope that Telltale is looking, obviously it might not show up in like Minecraft story mode, but if they do a, let's say, Wolf Among Us Season 2, or a Walking Dead Season 3, I hope that they take some of the things that Don't Nod has done and implement that. Now, Don't Nod, they're kind of a diverse team. They did the action game, they did Remember Me, and then they did this. And I wonder if this is a big enough hit, kind of like what happened with Until Dawn, that they have to kind of make another one, even if it's a different cast or whatever. Because right now, as it stands, their next game is some vampire RPG. I forget the name of it, but
really,
yeah, it's in development. I'd have to find it here, but yeah, I mean, I just kind of wonder if they're even going to do another episode. I mean, they might have to now, given how popular this has been. Don't Nod. There it is.
Oh, and speaking of Fallout, the cola is going to be available pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
They're actually making it so that people can buy it.
Yeah. They've been working since November of last year for just right at 1 year on Vampire, Vampyr, a role-playing game. Mm-hmm. So right now, other than finishing up Life is Strange, that's what they've been working on. And I just kind of wonder if they are going to do a season 2 of this, or if they're, going to, I don't know if they're a big enough studio to do 2 games at once. Because I mean, it's kind of lucky that we got this, because last year Murdered Soul Suspect, that was a game that Square Enix published, very small studio up in like the Seattle area, I think, either Seattle or Vancouver, and it didn't sell well, and it, that developer went bankrupt within a couple weeks of the game going out. Mm-hmm. And Remember Me was kind of the same thing. It didn't sell very well, came out, early summer, like May, and Don't Nod had to, now they were in Paris, and they had to go to some public funding to stay afloat, and because of that, they were able to do Life is Strange. And so I just don't know what their plan is. I don't think they're big enough to work on 2 games at once. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I do hope that those that do the adventure games, your Telltales and other people, look at what they did.
Yeah.
In terms, and most of the puzzles were pretty good. I mean, with the time mechanic. I mean, just look at, the puzzles, the storytelling, the music. I just think everything came together really well with this game. I just hope people learn from it.
I hope they learn from it too, because it had very good storytelling elements. It didn't really need a combat system to make it good.
Right, which is what makes me worried about Vampire, because like the worst part of Remember Me was the combat. And it's like, I hope you guys learn some stuff from Remember Me, because combat was not your strong suit. And it's really weird because that game's a different publisher. I mean, they're kind of fighting the good fight of being an independent publisher doing AAA or near AAA level games, because Vampire is being published by Focus Home Interactive. So, I really hope Square Enix decides to put this on a disc, because I think that will help the game get out to more people. There's a lot of people without access to the internet.
Should. They should.
Yeah.
I think they should.
Yeah, I mean, this would be the perfect title to release like in January. Just release it in January. Yeah.
Like Telltale's, I think it was Telltale's that did the Strong Bad game. It had all 5 episodes on a DVD. I have it here somewhere.
Right, and they've done that with both Walking Dead's and Wolf Among Us, and they're getting ready to do it with Game of Thrones. So yeah, that's kind of their MO, and they did it in a weird way with Minecraft because they put the first episode on the disc, and then all the other episodes are downloadable through the disc.
Okay.
So I mean, Telltale's done that all the time. So I hope that Square Enix does that because this game needs to get in as many hands as possible.
Yeah. It made me download the Unreal Engine, even though I don't know what the hell to do with it. It's kind of like sitting there. I'm like, okay, I have it now, but what do I do with it? Because I'm used to RPG Maker, and this one's a bit different than what I'm used to.
Okay, that's weird. I mean, nothing like that on console, obviously, but it made you download the actual, like...
Yeah, just to see what it was like. I mean, it may take me a few years, but I may do a short little game on it, see what happens.
Okay, yeah, I mean, because Unreal is like free now. I mean, it used to be you had to pay. It used to be you had to pay for Unreal, but now
the thing is, you agree to give them 5% of your selling.
Right.
When you produce something.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty neat. It's a powerful engine, but I'm still on the base knowledge with it, so I'm like, okay, putting stairs, trying to figure out how to incorporate characters, what formats it uses, so I'm like, all right, this is neat and all, but this is pretty basic. I want the intense stuff. So I can see why you need a tank load of people to make it pop.
Yeah.
But overall, I would give Life is Strange 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm probably 5 out of 5.
All right. The only reason I say 4.5 is because sometimes it's an annoying little bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I only got stuck. I got stuck 3 times in 5 episodes. 2 of them I think were slightly poorly designed, and the third one is just I wasn't thinking. Like as soon as I saw the answer, it's the one we talked about last time, or on Checkmate, I think, where it was like, well, you have to stand behind the principal, rewind time so that you're still there when he's fumbling on the door.
I remember that.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop because.
How you supposed to get past him when he's drunk as all hell?
Yeah, because
I see you, Trofield. You can't escape from me. Yeah. I hope this motivates, different people to make their own games, no matter what the system is.
Yeah.
We need more stories like this. It's good. Very good story.
Yep, I would concur.
And on that note, I think we should bring an end to this because we've yapped. We yapped enough. If you haven't played the game already, what the hell are you doing listening to this cast? But play it, buy it. And if it comes out in CD, have your own personal copy of it because it's worth it.
Yeah, there is a demo. There is a demo on all the platforms, so you get the first.
Yep, get the first episode. So it's all good. All right, this has been another edition of El Supercast. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.